honor to Arun Raman. Thank you, trustees. Please do take your
Mysore, second city of palaces, to whom a vision from Maharaja Krishna Raja Variyar IV, the visionary 24th ruler of Mysore. My dream was simple: bring literature to the stage of Mysore, bring the world to Mysore. The thought process had begun.
Few. I think I'm waiting for the sessions to start, so there's no point my sort of giving an extended talk. All I want to say is, been to lit fests all over the country, abroad also, and the MLF has a very, very special air of intimacy. It is really a festival for Mysore, by Mysoreans, and we get people from all over the country, and when they come, they really are blown away by Mysore too. Amish, I hope you will get to see the city a little bit if you have time. I'm sure you will also get a sense of it. So for me, it's homecoming always. And so I welcome all of you to this 10th edition of the Lit Fest. Hats off to Shubha for running it so successfully for so long, and to the trustees, the festival. What an annual.
the party to please address us.
Priyaji, what an honor to be on the same stage with you. Shobha, Arun, ladies and gentlemen, Arun, you may not know this, I'd actually come to Mysore, I think nearly 30 years ago. I'm 51, I'm quite old. So I come here around 30 years ago, and there's a friend of my father's out here at the program. And Shubha, as I'm sure all of you know, does not let go. She ensured that I came here for this. I don't think anyone has followed up as aggressively as you have. Thank you, Shubha. Frankly, that's what Mahishasura was doing. He had power, he didn't have the capability to handle that power, and he was oppressing this land. And this land, to me, from that time onwards, has actually represented the triumph of wisdom over ignorance. Look at the dynasty that this land has been blessed with. Among the oldest ruling dynasties, if I'm not mistaken, is from the 14th century, Your Highness, if I'm not mistaken. There were princes in British India. Many of them actually built the land. They built universities. They created the pool of talent which has made this land so wealthy.
Weather-wise cool day, I once again welcome Her Highness Dr. Pramoda Devi Vadihar. And
Morning to all of you. I take the cue from Arun Raman. I won't make it, I'll make it just a few lines. Just to keep in the thing of the order of the Sabhay Maryade. Distinguished guests on the dais, Chairman of the party, Sri Arun Raman, participants, members, trustees of the Mysore Literary Forum Charitable Trust, Mysore Book Club Charitable Trust, ladies and gentlemen. On this momentous occasion of the 10th edition of this literary festival, I extend my warmest greetings and heartiest congratulations to the trustees, authors, the literature enthusiasts who have passionately nurtured this platform over the last decade. Over the past 10 years, this festival has grown from a beautiful idea.
ಪುರಸ್ಕೃತರಾದ ಶತಾವಧಾನಿ ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ ಆರ್ ಗಣೇಶ್ ಅವರನ್ನು ಸನ್ಮಾನಿಸುವನ್ನು ನಾವು ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ ಆರ್ ಗಣೇಶ್ ಅವರಿಂದ ಕೇಳಲಿದ್ದೇವೆ. ಅದಕ್ಕೂ ಮುಂಚೆ ಈ ಸನ್ಮಾನ ತಲೆದೂಗದ ಜೀವಿಯಾದ ವಿದ್ವಾನ್ ಶತಾವಧಾನಿ ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ ಆರ್ ಗಣೇಶ್ ಅವರಿಗೆ ಮೈಸೂರು ಸಾಹಿತ್ಯ ಸಂಭ್ರಮದ ವತಿಯಿಂದ ಈ ಸನ್ಮಾನ ಅದನ್ನು ಸ್ವೀಕರಿಸಿದ್ದಕ್ಕಾಗಿ ಅವರಿಗೆ ನಮ್ಮೆಲ್ಲರ ಪರವಾಗಿ ಸಂಭ್ರಮದ ಈ ಹೊತ್ತಿನಲ್ಲಿ ಪುಸ್ತಕಗಳು ಬಿಡುಗಡೆಯಾಗುತ್ತಿವೆ. ಮೊದಲಿಗೆ ಸೀತಾ ಭಾಸ್ಕರ್ ಅವರ ರುಕ್ಮಿಣಿ ಆಂಟಿ ಆರ್.ಕೆ. ನಾರಾಯಣ್ ಫ್ಯಾನ್ ಕ್ಲಬ್ನ ಕನ್ನಡ ಅವತರಣಿಕೆಯ ಬಿಡುಗಡೆ, ಮಾಲ್ಗುಡಿಯ ಮಾಯಾಂಗಾರನ ಮನೆ. ಪ್ರಕಾರದ ಶ್ರೀ ಜಮೀಲ್ ಸಾವಣ್ಣ ಅವರು ಕೂಡ ಬುಕ್ ಕ್ಲಬ್ನ ಸಾರಥ್ಯ ಜೊತೆಗೆ 10 ಲಿಟ್ ಫೆಸ್ಟ್ಗಳ ಸಾರಥ್ಯದ ನಂತರ ಇದೀಗ ಅನುವಾದಕಿಯಾಗಿಯೂ ಶುಭ ನಮ್ಮ ಮುಂದಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಅನುವಾದಕಿಯರಿಗೆ ಅಭಿನಂದನೆಗಳು.
Shubha decided to don the hat of a translator and turn author. Jayashree is bringing back memories of R.K. Narayan to the Kannada audience. Thank you, Jayashree. The inner, and we have who's come here and who's been
ಕಂಗ್ರಾಚುಲೇಷನ್ಸ್ ಅವರ ಮೈಸೂರು ಲ್ಯಾನ್ಸರ್ ಕೃತಿಯ ಮುಖಪುಟದ ಅನಾವರಣ. ಮೊದಲ ಮಹಾಯುದ್ಧದ ಗಾಥೆಯನ್ನು ಹೇಳುವ ಈ ಪುಸ್ತಕ ಇನ್ನೇನು ಅಭಿನಂದನೆಗಳು ಅನಿಲ್ ರಾಜೆ ಅರಸ್ ಅವರಿಗೆ.
is Soulful Symphony by Dr. Hemamani Lakshman. The first 50 years of Triton bands.
ನಡೆಸಿಕೊಡಲು ನಮಗೆ ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ ಶತಾವಧಾನಿ ಗಣೇಶ್ ಪರಿಚಯ ಮಾಡಿಕೊಡ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಇದು ಖಂಡಿತ ಅವರ ಪರಿಚಯ ಅಲ್ಲ. ಕರಿಯನ್ನು ತಮ್ಮ ಮುಡಿಗೇರಿಸಿಕೊಂಡಿರುವ ಪುರುಷ ಸರಸ್ವತಿಯ ವಿದ್ವತ್ತು ಪಾಂಡಿತ್ಯದ ಮನನ ನಮಗಾಗಿ ಮಾತ್ರ. ಕುಟುಂಬದಲ್ಲಿ ಜನಿಸಿದ ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ ಗಣೇಶ್ ಅವರು ಇಂಜಿನಿಯರಿಂಗ್ ಪದವೀಧರರು. ಎಂಟೆಕ್ ನಂತರ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಸಮಯ ಸಾಹಿತ್ಯದ ಅಗತ್ಯ ಈ ವಿಷಯದ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಒಂದು ಉಪನ್ಯಾಸ.
ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೆ ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ. ಮೈಸೂರು ಸಾಹಿತ್ಯ ಸಂಭ್ರಮದ 10 ವರ್ಷಗಳ ಪೂರೈಕೆಯ ಈ ಶುಭಾವಸರದಲ್ಲಿ ಮೊದಲ ಗೋಷ್ಠಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಸಾಹಿತ್ಯವನ್ನು ಕುರಿತು, ಅದರೊಳಗೂ ನನಗೆ ತುಂಬಾ ಪ್ರಿಯವಾದ ಪೂಜ್ಯ ಅಭಿಜಾತ ಸಾಹಿತ್ಯ, ಕ್ಲಾಸಿಕಲ್ ಲಿಟ್ರೇಚರ್, ಅದನ್ನು ಕುರಿತು ಮಾತನಾಡೋದಕ್ಕೆ ತುಂಬಾ ಸಂತೋಷ ಇದೆ. ಅಭಿಜಾತತೆ, ಕ್ಲಾಸಿಕ್ಯಾಲಿಟಿ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಯಾವುದರ ಆಳಕ್ಕೂ ಹೋಗಿ ಅದರ ಸ್ವರೂಪವನ್ನು ಕಾಣತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದು. ಉದಾಹರಣೆಗೆ ಈಗಷ್ಟೇ ಪುಸ್ತಕಗಳು ಲೋಕಾರ್ಪಣೆ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾಗ ವೀಣೆಯ ಹಿನ್ನೆಲೆ ಬರ್ತಾ ಇತ್ತು. ತ್ಯಾಗರಾಜ ಸ್ವಾಮಿಗಳ ಆಭೀರಿ ರಾಗದ ನಗುಮೋಮು, ಆ ಸುಂದರವಾಗಿ ಇದು ಅದರ ಸ್ಕೇಲ್. ಆಭೀರ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಆಭೀರರು, ಕಾಡು ಗೊಲ್ಲರು ಈ ಟ್ಯೂನ್, ಈ ಮೆಲಡಿ ಅಂತೀವಲ್ಲ, ಅದನ್ನು ಮೊದಲು ತಂದುಕೊಟ್ರು. ಬೆಸ್ಟ್ ವರ್ಡ್ಸ್ ಪ್ರೆಸೆಂಟೆಡ್ ಇನ್ ಬೆಸ್ಟ್ ಆರ್ಡರ್ ಅಂತ. ಇದು ವಾಗರ್ಥಗಳ ಸಾಮರಸ್ಯ ಅಂತ ಕರೀಬಹುದಾದದ್ದು. ಅದು ಸಾಹಿತ್ಯದ ಮುಖ್ಯ ಲಕ್ಷಣ. ಅದರೊಳಗೆ ಅಭಿಜಾತ ಸಾಹಿತ್ಯದ ಲಕ್ಷಣ ಏನು ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಪರಿಪೂರ್ಣತೆ ಅಂತ ಅನ್ಬೋದು. ಇಷ್ಟು ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿರ್ತದೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಮತ್ತೊಂದು ಮಾತನ್ನ ಹಿಂಗೆ ತೆಗೆದು ಹಂಗೆ ಹಾಕೋಣ ಅಂತ ಅನ್ನೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಆಗೋದಿಲ್ಲ. ಆ ರೀತಿಯಾದಂತಹ ಪರಿಪೂರ್ಣತೆ ಇರುತ್ತದೆ. ಅದರ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಅದರ ಮೊದಲ ಲಕ್ಷಣ ಚಿರಂತನತೆ, ಎಟರ್ನಿಟಿ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಶಾಶ್ವತತೆ ಇರಬೇಕು. ನಾಡಿನ ಒಂದು ದೇಶದ ಅಸ್ಮಿತೆ, ಐಡೆಂಟಿಟಿ ಆಗಿರಬೇಕು. ಮೋಸ್ಟ್ ಅಪ್ರಾಪ್ರಿಯೇಟ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಮೋಸ್ಟ್ ರೆಲೆವೆಂಟ್ ಅಂತ ಗೊತ್ತಾಗ್ತದೆ. ಒಂದು ಉದಾಹರಣೆ ಕೊಡ್ತೀನಿ. ಹೋಮರ್ ಸ್ತ್ರೀ ವರ್ಣನೆ ಮಾಡ್ತಾನೆ. ಕೆಲವರು ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ ಹೋಮರ್ ವಾಸ್ ಬ್ಲೈಂಡ್ ಬಟ್ ಹಿ ಹ್ಯಾಡ್ ಎ ಕೀನ್ ಸೆನ್ಸ್ ಫಾರ್ ಬ್ಯೂಟಿ ಅಂತ. ಅವನು ಹುಟ್ಟಿ ಕುರುಡ ಅಂತಾರೆ, ಅದು ಸೌಂದರ್ಯ ದೃಷ್ಟಿ ಇತ್ತು. ಹೆಲೆನ್ ಅವಳೊಬ್ಬ ರಾಜಕುಮಾರಿ, ಸ್ಪಾರ್ಟಾದ ರಾಜಕುಮಾರಿ. ಅವಳು ಪ್ಯಾರಿಸ್ ಅಂತ, ಅವನು ಮತ್ತೊಬ್ಬ ದೇಶದ ರಾಜಕುಮಾರ, ಟ್ರಾಯ್ ನಗರದ ರಾಜಕುಮಾರ. ಅವನ ರೂಪ ಆಕರ್ಷಣೆಗಳಿಗೆ ಮರುಳಾಗಿ ಅವಳು ಅವನ ಜೊತೆ ಬಂದು ಬಿಡ್ತಾಳೆ ಟ್ರಾಯ್ಗೆ. ಅವಳನ್ನು ಮತ್ತೆ ಪಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ದೊಡ್ಡ ಸೈನ್ಯ ಎಲ್ಲ 1000 ಹಡಗುಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಬರುತ್ತದೆ. ಇದು ಸುಮಾರು 3100 ವರ್ಷಗಳ ಹಿಂದೆ ನಡೆದ ಕಥೆ ಅಂತ. ಹಾಗೆ ಬಂದಾಗ ಎಲ್ಲರೂ ಯಾತಕ್ಕೆ ಯುದ್ಧ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು? ಅವಳ ಹಳೆಯ ಗಂಡ ಮತ್ತೆ ಹೊಸ ಗಂಡ ಯಾರಿದ್ದಾನೆ, ಅವರಿಬ್ಬರು ಕೂಡ ಗಂಡ ಮತ್ತು ಪ್ರಿಯತಮ, ಹಸ್ಬೆಂಡ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಲವರ್. ನಮ್ಮ ಕುವೆಂಪು ರಾಮಾಯಣ ದರ್ಶನದಲ್ಲಿ ಬಹಳ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. ಸೀತೆಯನ್ನ ರಾಮ ಶೂರ್ಪಣಖಿಗೆ ಪರಿಚಯ ಮಾಡಿಕೊಡ್ತಾನೆ. ಇವಳೆನ್ನ ಪತ್ನಿ ಮೇನ್ ಪ್ರಿಯಯೂ ವಲಂ ಅಂತ. ಈಕೆ ತನ್ನ ಪತ್ನಿ ಪ್ರೇಯಸಿಯೂ ಹೌದು ಅಂತ. ತುಂಬಾ ಜನ ಗಂಡಂದ್ರಿಗೆ ಈ ತರ ಹೇಳ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋ ಧೈರ್ಯವೂ ಇರಲ್ಲ, ಯಾಕೆಂದ್ರೆ ಪ್ರಾಮಾಣಿಕತೆ ಇರಲ್ಲ. ರಾಮನಿಗೆ ಮಾತ್ರ ಇತ್ತು. ಹಾಗೆ ಇಬ್ಬರು ಕೂಡ ಹಳೆಯ ಗಂಡ ಹೊಸ ಗಂಡ, ಅವರಿಬ್ಬರು ಯುದ್ಧ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಸಾಕು. ಯಾಕೆಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಯಾರಿಗೆ ಶಕ್ತಿ ಪರಾಕ್ರಮ ಇದೆಯೋ ಅವ್ರ ಪಾಲಿಗೆ ಹಾಗೆ ತಂದು ಬಿಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಅವರಿಬ್ಬರು ಬಂದು ಯುದ್ಧಕ್ಕೆ ನಿಂತ್ಕೋತಾರೆ. ಟ್ರಾಯ್ನ ದೊಡ್ಡ ಕೋಟೆ, ಅಲ್ಲೊಂದು ಹೆಪ್ಪಾಗಿಲು ಸ್ಕೀಯನ್ ಅಂತ, ಆ ಹೆಪ್ಪಾಗಿಲ ಮೇಲೆ ದೊಡ್ಡ ಜಾಗ ಇರುತ್ತದೆ. ಅಲ್ಲೆಲ್ಲ ಟ್ರಾಯ್ ನಗರದ ವೃದ್ಧರು, ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಗುಡ್ ಓಲ್ಡ್ ಪೀಪಲ್, ಗ್ರ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಓಲ್ಡ್ ಪೀಪಲ್ ಅಂತಾರಲ್ಲ, ಎಲ್ಲರೂ ಕೂತ್ಕೊಂಡಿರ್ತಾರೆ. ಆಗ ಹೆಲೆನ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿಗೆ ಬರ್ತಾಳೆ. ಹೇಗೆ ಇವರಿಬ್ರು ಯುದ್ಧ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ, ನಾನು ಯಾರಿಗೆ ಕೊನೆಗೆ ಸೇರ್ತೀನಿ ಅಂತ. ಅವಳು ಬರೋಕ್ಕೆ ಮುನ್ನ ವಯಸ್ಸಾದವರೆಲ್ಲರೂ ಕೂಡ ಇವಳು ಬಂದ್ಬಿಟ್ಲಪ್ಪ, ಎಲ್ಲೋ ಇದ್ದವಳು ಆಟದಲ್ಲಿ ಪರಮ ಸುಂದರಿ ಅಂತೆ, ಇವಳಿಂದ ದೊಡ್ಡ ಯುದ್ಧ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಎಷ್ಟು ನಷ್ಟ, ಎಷ್ಟು ಸಾವು, ಎಷ್ಟು ನೋವು, ನಮ್ಮ ಮಕ್ಕಳು, ನಮ್ಮ ಮೊಮ್ಮಕ್ಕಳು ಎಲ್ಲರೂ ಸಾಯ್ತಾರೆ, ಯುವಕರೆಲ್ಲ ಹೊರಟೋಗ್ಬಿಡ್ತಾರೆ, ಇವಳು ಇದ್ದದ್ದಾದ್ರೂ ಯಾತಕ್ಕೆ ಶನಿ ಬಂದು ವಕ್ರಸಿದ್ಲು ಬೈಕೋತಾ ಇರ್ತಾರೆ. ಅವಳು ಹಾಗೆ ಮೆಟ್ಲ ಹತ್ತಿ ಬರ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾಗ ಎಲ್ಲರೂ ಹಿಂಗೆ ತಿರುಗಿ ನೋಡಿ, ಈ ಸೌಂದರ್ಯಕ್ಕೆ ಎಷ್ಟು ಸಾವು, ಎಷ್ಟು ನೋವು, ಎಷ್ಟು ಸಂಕಟ ಆದ್ರೂ ಪರವಾಗಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂದ್ಬಿಡ್ತಾರೆ. ನೋಡಿ, ಅವಳ ಕಣ್ಣು ಹೀಗಿದೆ, ಅವಳ ಮೂಗು ಹೀಗಿದೆ, ಅವಳ ತುಟಿ ಹೀಗಿದೆ, ಅವಳ ನಿಲುವು ಹೀಗಿದೆ ಅಂತ ಒಂದು ಚೂರು ಶಾರೀರಿಕವಾದ ವರ್ಣನೆ ಮಾಡಿಲ್ಲ. ವೃದ್ಧರು, ಲೋಕದಲ್ಲಿ ಆಸಕ್ತಿ ಕಳ್ಕೊಂಡವರು, ಹೆಣ್ಣು ಹೊನ್ನು ಯಾವುದು ಬೇಡ ಅನ್ನೋರು, ಯುದ್ಧವೇ ಬೇಡ, ಇವಳು ಯಾಕೆ ಬಂದಳು ಅಂತ ಶಾಪ ಹಾಕ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದವರು, ಒಂದು ಕ್ಷಣ ಅವಳು ಬಂದ ತಕ್ಷಣ ಅವರ ಅಭಿಪ್ರಾಯ ಬದಲಾಯಿತು. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಸೌಂದರ್ಯದ ರೀತಿ ಏನು ಅಂತ ತೋರ್ಪಡಿಸ್ತಾನೆ. ಇದು ಬಹಳ ದೊಡ್ಡದು. ಮಹಾಕೃತಿ ಕ್ಲಾಸಿಕ್ ಅನ್ನುವುದಿದೆಯಲ್ಲ, ಕ್ಲಾಸಿಕಸ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಲ್ಯಾಟಿನ್ ಭಾಷೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಕರೀತಾರೆ. ಕ್ಲಾಸಿಕಸ್ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಅತ್ಯುತ್ತಮವಾದದ್ದು, ಸರ್ವೋಚ್ಚ. ಜ್ಞಾನೇ ಮೌನಂ ಕ್ಷಮಾ ಶಕ್ತವು ತ್ಯಾಗೇ ಶ್ಲಾಘಾ ವಿಪರ್ಯಯ ಗುಣ ಗುಣಾನುಬಂಧಿತ್ವ ತಸ್ಯ ಸಪ್ರಸವ ಇವ. ಅವನ ಬಲ ಅವನ ತಾಳ್ಮೆನಲ್ಲಿತ್ತು, ಅವನ ಔದಾರ್ಯ ಅವನ ಪ್ರಶಂಸೆಗೆ ಬಾಯಿ ಬಿಡದೇ ಇರುವಂತಹದ್ದೊಳಗಿತ್ತು. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ನಮಗೆ ಸಾಮಾನ್ಯವಾಗಿ ಒಂದು ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ತಿಳುವಳಿಕೆ ಇದ್ರು, ನಮಗೆ ಅದು ಗೊತ್ತು ಇದು ಗೊತ್ತು ಅಂತ ಅನ್ನೋದನ್ನ ಹೇಳ್ತಾನೆ ಇರ್ತೀವಿ. ಮೌನ ಇದೆಯಲ್ಲ, ಅದು ಬಹಳ ಮುಖ್ಯವಾದದ್ದು.
In conversation with aviation entrepreneur Captain G.R. Gopilan as they reflect.
I hope I'm audible. ಮುಂಚೆ ಶತಾಬ್ದಾನಿ ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ ಆರ್ ಗಣೇಶ್ ಅವರು ಮಾತಾಡ್ತಿದ್ದಾರೆ. I believe there's a lot of positive energy in the hall. So I response from the audience. Thank you. ಇವತ್ತು ಕ್ಯಾಪ್ಟನ್ ಗೋಪಿನಾಥ್ welcoming him to the panel. A very rare and distinguished personality. He said, I'm not just flying, but I would be starting an airline. What a thought it is. Captain, sir, how did Air Deccan happen?
ನಾನು from the beginning. ನಾನು ಬೆಳೆದಿದ್ದು ಬರೋರಲ್ಲಿ, ಸಣ್ಣ ಗ್ರಾಮ, ಪುಟ್ಟ ಗ್ರಾಮ. I because having the former not the latter, because there's a gap there. You have to have that leap of faith. One day, a colleague of mine, an outstanding helicopter pilot, was a buddy of me during the war in the NDA. He retired, he was just 42, 43. And I said, what are you doing? He said, I'm looking for a job. He was a pilot, he was a gallantry award winner against terrorists in Kashmir, but he had no job. And shamelessly. Of course, as long as you didn't criticize the Communist Party, though it was a Communist Party, there was no communism. And the karaoke bars, the nightclubs, democracy.
Because in the
We
book,
can't.
This discussion with Captain Gopinath and Professor Shankar Bellur was very exciting. And Mr. Harish Bhatt, onto the dais, please.
Meeting the 10th year of our Mysore Fest. Together, very best of leadership telling Mr. Bhaskar Bhatt and Mr. Harish Bhatt. Mr. Bhaskar Bhatt is one of the most trusted names in Indian business. Best known as a man who led Titan Company as managing director for 17 years from 2002.
Gadiyache Hogona Bandiro Pasanadike. Beyond the temple, beyond the woods, beyond the borders, let's go and discover new lands yonder. I think André Gide, the French poet, has said, he said, if you want to discover new lands, you have to be away from the shore for a long time. And the safe to be safe is not to buy a boat, but to build a house on land. Because if you have a ship, join the sailing school, then I wrote the UPSC exam and joined the Indian National Defence Academy in Kadakosta, then I joined the Indian Military Academy in Yaradone. But God was when my they came with Ramanuja probably to Chennai. A civilization in the flux. So why I'm telling this is that when military rule was imposed on East Pakistan by West Pakistan, the reason was East Pakistan is Bengali, culturally, ethnically, they were Bengalis. They look different, they speak Bengali, and as against the Pashtuns and the Punjabis who were torn, and cases of distress and suicides. I think the thing that comes out in farming is that you will never see a farmer not getting up in the morning with optimism. He never disbelieves that tomorrow the sun will not shine, tomorrow it will not rain, and he sows the seeds.
Assistant chose is a title which says, For the Love of India. Now that is the title of Jamshedji Tata's biography, written by a very great historian called R.M. Tata. A more contemporary leader of the Tata Group, who is Ratan Tata, all of you would know his name. And in the mid-1990s, Ratan Tata once stood up in an Automobile Association of India meeting and said, why can't India have its own car, designed for Indian families, for Indian roads, made of Indian components, and truly indigenous car. People turned around and said, India is not technologically advanced, we can't make our own car. And in fact, there was a lot of skepticism. People actually, Bhaskar ancillary unit industry created tens of thousands of jobs in Pune and in the western area of India. And today there are so many other global car manufacturers who also come into it. That's a typical example, ladies and gentlemen, of what For the Love of India means. He did create a very successful car industry for the Tata Group, but more importantly, he created an indigenous car industry for the entire nation. Note on which I would like to start our discussion, and I'd like to start asking Bhaskar this question. Bhaskar, this is the story of Tata Motors and India's first indigenous car. But just now, when the introduction to this session was happening, Sam mentioned the recent Titan film series, which featured G.R.D. Tata, which featured Xerxes Desai. How many of you here have seen that series of television? Wow, namesake also had a character there, but we will not go into that part of the discussion now. What I do want to ask Bhaskar is, he has worked perhaps the closest with Mr. Xerxes Desai when Titan was being set up. He actually wrote the project report for the creation of Titan, working with Mr. Desai in those days. I want to ask you, when Mr. Desai set up Titan, how did he recruit the people into Titan, and can you remember some, and how Titan actually created livelihoods for so many people? And hearing the story from Bhaskar himself, who was involved at that stage, would be very, very interesting for all of us, I'm sure.
I want to step back with the story, Harish, and we are talking about leadership, and is really that there's an inner drive which is inspired as they see India is one, Indians, and everything else that they can. Jamsetji Tata also started with that. So coming, I think the segue to that question is really sitting in the nano in a way, but nano was after Jamshedpur forever. Darbari said even today
Command a huge amount of it.
Therefore, and Xerxes Desai had that eye for getting the right people. Titan's manufacturing plants predominantly are in Hosur. Dharmapuri district was declared as backward. So backward area benefits is what we got. So two principles of leadership which I learned during that time. One is the government has given us this benefit for one reason, because this is a backward area. Mr. Desai saw talent in the HMT engineers. The best, Mr. Amitabh, late Mr. Amitabh was no longer there, Mr. Hari Rao, Dwarkanath, Shantaram, you know, they were the people who built the manufacturing facility at Titan. Full credit to them. But the principle of not just benefiting from the government's subsidies, very fast, but culture you can't build. You can build culture only if your purpose is known to those employees. And I can, without being critical of that industry, you want to get into not software services, to mobile services. Who do you go to? You go to Airtel, you go to Jio, and at that time, eventually ended up making those exceptionally high quality edge or the watches we sold in Europe and so on. So these are long-term, I wouldn't even call investments. These are purpose-led practices.
So would you say, Bhaskar, Mr. Desai and his team didn't just build watches, they built an entire community in Mysore?
I think so. I don't know how many of you are aware that you were there that day, and with a long procession that accompanied him on. He couldn't speak a word of Hindi. His photograph is there in every Hosur home of employees. Now, you know, that is the impact you can have, and you know, for us, Xerxes Desai was the founder of Titan.
So you know, that's a very after splendidly for the next 2 decades, from growth to growth. And we all know how the market capitalization of Titan not just climbed but ballooned up under your leadership. But my question here is not so much about the market capitalization and financial success of Titan. All of us know that. Not even about the quality of watches that we so proudly wear, or about Titan. One or two of the most challenging situations you faced, because I think leadership comes
personally was Mr. Desai, Xerxes Desai, and at that time I was calling Mr. Desai. He would always say, call me Xerxes. But he was such a tall figure, much older, much more accomplished,
and the founder of the company,
and a visionary. And that I was one amongst equals who was asked to lead the company. One amongst equals. That itself is a personal challenge because we are all friends. When I sat in that room, all my colleagues, my friends were around. So I said 2 things. First of all, I am not Xerxes Desai. So from today onwards, you'll be tempted to compare. So please don't do that. I don't know how I will stop you from comparing. I cannot be head of watches head. I'm supposed to be the head of this company. I don't know what job I have, but you guys know your job better than I am supposed to. Whether you are in if in the process of running this or doing your job, if the shit hits the fan, I'll be there to clean.
No, that was a very powerful statement. I was in the room in this statement, but that was a very powerful statement because it gave emotional safety. In the first year, I don't know how many of you know that Mr. Ratan Tata was not convinced about the jewelry business. So there was a push to close the jewelry business. In 2002, I had just taken over. I could confront maybe Mr. Desan. Who can confront Mr. Ratan Tata? And this was shit hitting the fan. Really, okay. I got, and we were asked to come and make a presentation. That was a real threat, no boss. Yeah, the business was a real threat. Jacob Kurian heading jewelry, what is his name? Biju was heading watches, and 4 of us went to. Is going to get transformed in this country. The girl who gets, who's born in Patna, gets educated in Delhi, does her engineering in IIT Kanpur, gets married to someone in Infosys. For her, the local family jeweler doesn't mean anything. So it will be so she'll get the same shop in Patna or in Delhi or in Chennai or in Bangalore. That will be the idea of a national brand, and India is going to transform. Women are going to be mobile. All this man, and I guess he thought ये तो बकरा है. अगले साल भी इसको sack करना है तो निकाल सकता है कभी भी. After all, he's 47 years old. So he said, okay, we'll give you 1 year. You show that this can be transformed. All I'm saying is, when we came out of that, the energy with Jacob and his team, the whole company, the faith in the group was restored.
It's an absolutely fantastic discussion so far. My question was in the context of the lessons learned through Tata Group's encounter with the terrorists during the event and the immediate aftermath of the event.
So I think the reference was 6-7 terror attacks in Mumbai, the leadership lessons learned. Let me start with a very recent conversation I had with a very renowned itself being built. The entire thread Bhaskar running across the history of the Tata Group is one of nation building and community. Where do you think that comes from, and why is that important for private enterprise to look at? I go back to, I wrote this watch just so that I remember to talk about this story. Yeah, okay. The special watch that Bhaskar is wearing has on it the exact facsimile of a letter that Jamshedji Tata wrote to Swami Vivekananda, requesting his support for the creation of the Indian Institute of Science. And Mysore has a very special name to this. I'm particularly very proud that Her Highness is here because the Maharaja of Mysore supported the creation of this institute by giving 370 acres of land. It is the finest in the country even today, Indian Institute of Science. And it's not just boldness of vision, it is for the love of India.